Coming up, we finally have great news about Halloween Horror Nights 30, plus a new Asian fusion restaurant has opened up at Universal CityWalk. All of that and more on this episode of the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition. I'm your host, Craig Williams, and today I am joined alongside by my co-host, Rhino.
Hello.
Hey, Rhino. How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Okay. That is, you know what?
Yeah.
It's better than bad. I'll take fine.
Yeah.
Fine anytime. Okay, well, before we get started, of course, I do need to remind you that this week's episode is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, the experts at helping you plan the perfect Universal vacation. If you like our content, you want to support us, please consider booking your next vacation through Dreams Unlimited Travel. Costs you no extra money, and you get that world-class level of support from the Dreams Unlimited Travel agents. So go get a free, no-obligation quote today at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Also, please make sure you are subscribed to UOFan here on YouTube if that's how you're watching the show. And make sure you hit the thumbs up and leave comments, questions, video suggestions in the comments section. And if you're listening to the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition, please make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen. And if you're listening through Apple Podcasts, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star rating and review. And we might give you a shout out with your review on one of the shows. But we have a lot of show to go over today, so I don't want to waste any more time. We've got a little roundup of news that we have to go over, and then right at the end of the show, Rhino and I made our way to Universal CityWalk to dine at the new Asian fusion restaurant that they have. And well, we've got thoughts. We've got thoughts on that, but I won't spoil it. But the first news that I want to bring up is more of just a statement rather than a long discussion. But earlier this week, Universal's Aventura Hotel finally opened up. And if you don't know what that means for Universal Orlando Resort as a whole, that means now all of the hotels are officially reopened on property. So that is a huge milestone. This is the first time since the pandemic that all of the hotels have been reopened. So we can pretty much say now Universal is basically back to normal.
I still can't not hear Aventura and think, Aventura.
Yeah.
Yes, Satan? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were somebody else. But anyway, and I just think it's funny that was the last hotel, and that's how I imagined it said its name whispered through the wind one night, and they were like, we need to open that hotel right now.
They do. They need to open that hotel, and they did open it up. And just as a rundown of all of the different hotel options at Universal, you have in the premier category, you have Loews Portofino Bay Hotel, Hard Rock Hotel, and Loews Royal Pacific Resort. Those three hotels will give you all of the perks that you get at any of the Universal Orlando Resort hotels, like early park admission, charging privileges, as well as, complimentary resort transportation. You have all that, but at those three premier hotels, you also get free Universal Unlimited Express Pass. So a big perk of staying there. Next category is preferred. That includes Loews Sapphire Falls Resort. Then you have your prime value, which includes Universal's Aventura Hotel, as well as Universal's Cabana Bay Beach Resort. And then finally, in the value category, you have Universal's Endless Summer Resort, Dockside Inn and Suites, as well as Surfside Inn and Suites. And those are the four categories of hotels, all different styles, different options, different price points. I think Dockside starts at $88 per night for a room. So that's the lowest. And then I don't even want to know what the most expensive suites cost, but I doubt it's that much. But lots of options for every budget and every style at Universal Orlando Resort. And hey, if you want to go, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Someone should bring that back one day. We probably have to pay a royalty now for doing that. Who did that? I don't even remember. I'm trying to think of the commercial.
Well, because now all I can think about is the carpet commercial.
Like Stanley Steamer.
800 Empire.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Empire. Yeah, so I keep thinking they were doing the .com, but it's not them. Wait. I had it for a second. It's like a company that used to do funny commercials all the time because they'd be like, da-da, da,
it wasn't just Yahoo, was it? .com.
No, because Yahoo's whole thing was the Yahoo.
Oh, yeah, Yahoo. Well, apparently this show is not about Universal at all. It's about
somebody out there's gonna know. That's the beauty of the internet.
It's about late 90s, mid 2000s TV.
Shame on us for not knowing. Shame.
Call 1-800-STEAMER. Stanley Steamer makes carpets cleaner.
I don't know that one.
Oh, okay. Well, I got you with the Stanley Steamer. Yeah. Fantastic.
I got this guy for you. I mean, you probably don't know it. The water country, have some fun.
I do not know that one, but I know it's probably from up your neck of the woods.
Yes, because there are two water countries. One is in like South Carolina, and one is like is in New Hampshire, I think, right on the border of Massachusetts. So
New Hampshire, lovely this time of year and every time of year. You know what else is a lovely time of year? Halloween season. That was called a segue. And we all know that 2020 was supposed to be this big epic year for Halloween Horror Nights. It was going to be the 30th anniversary of the event, and COVID happened. And obviously, it did not happen for that reason. And they had their little makeshift Halloween event that was still awesome, better than doing no Halloween at all. But of course, this year, we are now celebrating Halloween Horror Nights' 30th anniversary, and it's going to be a big one. I don't think anyone denies that at all. And the biggest news that came out of it now is that single night tickets are now on sale, which that's exciting news. Now you can finally get those tickets in your hands, and right now only single night tickets. So for the people out there who are waiting for Rush of Fear, Frequent Fear, Ultimate Frequent Fear, all of the passes that allow you to go to the event more than once, they haven't come yet, but Universal does say right on the site to check back for other ticket options in the future.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I saw a couple of people had said definitively, or sounded definitively, where they're like, Universal will not be offering Halloween Horror Nights Frequent Fear passes this year, or like no Frequent Fear passes this year. And I was like, I saw somebody else post that they asked guest services directly, and their response was more options to come. So they didn't say yes, they didn't say no, but they, like what you said, there's more ticket options. I'm curious. The tickets, though, they're comparable to what they were pre-pandemic, are they not?
They absolutely are. And just throwing it out there. So tickets start at $70.99 per person plus tax online in advance of the event. If you wait until the night of the event and try to book them at Universal, it will cost more money. So be smart. If you're going to Halloween Horror Nights, buy your tickets online ahead of the event, or sometimes like grocery stores will offer their deals on it too, and you can do that, but you will get better pricing online than right at Universal Orlando. So book your tickets online. And the most expensive ticket that I could find with online pricing and ahead of time, even in like October, for some reason was $99.99 per person. So I don't know if I just wasn't looking hard enough, but like in the middle of October when it's at its busiest, the pricing I was pulling up said $99.99. So that apparently is the range we're looking at. And while I said no other tickets are available, you do have express tickets that are currently available, not express tickets, sorry, express pass that's currently available to purchase. You have the RIP tours, which are Halloween Horror Nights VIP tours, as well as they are bringing back the behind the scenes daytime lights on tours, the Unmasking the Horror tours that they do. And so for the pricing for express passes, for what I could find, is on the slowest nights, express passes started at $69.99 per person plus tax. Again, does not include your admission. This is just allows you use of the express pass express line once for each house, only once for each house. And the highest pricing I saw on the express pass was $129.99 per person plus tax. And the RIP tour is basically it's a walking guided tour of the entire event. You get priority entrance into each of the houses once, and not express pass lines. You get priority entrance. It's a little bit better, and then you also can go and do all of the attractions in the tour. They take you to special bars. It's a fun experience, and the pricing for that starts at $199.99 per person, and the most expensive one I found was $369.99 per person plus tax. And the RIP tours, those also do not include park admission. You need the Halloween Horror Nights admission ticket on top of both of these options. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at pricing for all of this. And then with Unmasking the Horror tours, the pricing for the 3 haunted house lights on tour started at $79.99 per person, and the most expensive 6 haunted house tour was for the most expensive pricing of the 6 haunted house tour. So in the first couple weeks of the event, while people are excited to see it all and go behind the magic, those tickets would cost you $159.99 per person plus tax. But I think that's fairly priced. And so yeah, you tons of ticket options. And like Rhino and I said, excuse me, I'm getting all choked up over this.
Halloween.
Halloween. It's finally here.
It's Halloween.
It's Halloween, everybody. The rest of the passes will become available at some time. Some years Universal has offered a pass that'll be like buy one night or buy 2 nights for the price of one. I don't know if that kind of offer will be needed this year for the event, and the fact that so many people want to travel right now after a pandemic, but anything's on the table. But I do expect
my guess is I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please. I'm choking.
My guess was that they're kind of just released the one day event tickets to just kind of see how it's going to sell, and then they can price the other things accordingly. Like, do we need to do the buy one get one, or maybe we should offer it because some nights are selling so much stronger than other nights, or and then I do honestly think it'll gauge how expensive the frequent fear pass is going to be, because that is such a popular option for Halloween Horror Nights. I cannot imagine that they wouldn't have some version of it, because in the past they've done I can't remember the different names for it, but there was like the frequent fear pass that was only the first like 2 or 3 weekends of the event.
That's Rush of Fear.
And then there's the one that's Rush of Fear, yeah. And then there's the one that's like, the whole time where you can go like Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Then there's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then there's the one that's like every day or whatever. So it's like, I think they're probably just kind of trying to gauge that to see where everything is still. Yeah. It's just my educated guess. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. And they could, if they wanted to take advantage of people like annual pass holders and frequent fear pass holders for HHN, they could take advantage of us this year if they wanted to, because usually like the frequent fear pass without express, the frequent fear pass that includes Friday nights for like annual pass holders. I want to say my ticket last year was somewhere around like 140 for it. I don't have the receipt pulled up in front of me, but it's very, very affordable, to the point that as long as you go twice, the ticket essentially pays for itself. So they could really increase that if they wanted to, and I think a lot of people would understand why they would, but it doesn't. I don't expect that at the same time too. So we'll kind of have to see what it's all going to boil down to once they release more details. It will come. I mean, the fact is, it's now June, the middle of June, and we only technically have one true house reveal in all of Halloween Horror Nights. So there is still a lot more information to come. And I did just double check the single night ticket price as well too as we're sitting here talking. And yeah, the most expensive pricing I'm seeing on the calendar is on October 16th, $99.99. So, tickets very, very well priced, but like on a night like that, you're going to want your express because it's going to be slammed. It's going to be really busy. But moving on to the next news with this, obviously the 30th anniversary was going to include icons because it has to. That's what they do on their big years. They make it about celebrating the event. And so it's not a surprise at all that Jack the Clown, Jack Schmidt, he is returning for Halloween Horror Nights 30. And this is exciting because it will be his first time returning to the event since 2015. He made his debut all the way back in 2000 and has become basically the unofficial face of Halloween Horror Nights and the most iconic of the icons that they have for the event. But with Halloween Horror Nights 30, they did a nice write-up. Oh, sorry for my Apple Watch there. They did a nice write-up on Universal Orlando's official blog, and Mike Aiello, the Senior Director of Creative Development, awesome person you should be following on social media for everything Universal and then just nerd stuff in general. But he said that this year's event is going to be looked at as a comic book annual, where it's just a collection of everything that they love about Halloween Horror Nights and celebrating original characters and stories. Of course, there's still going to be intellectual properties and other things, but I like the idea that they are going for that overall celebration of everything Halloween Horror Nights. And the performer of Jack the Clown, James Keaton, he also said that basically this time around, Jack's getting a separate story that's not part of the ongoing series that started with his debut way back when and going all through 2015 and such. So for people who have no idea what we're talking about, don't understand the importance of it, that's actually a good thing because you'll be able to get introduced to Jack and the characters without necessarily needing the entire backstory. It will probably drive you to want to know more about the backstory, but you don't need to go all in on the backstory. And with the reveal that Jack is returning, I was hoping for a house reveal as well, but unfortunately that did not happen. On the YouTube video that they released with it, they specifically mentioned that Jack you'd be able to see him in a house, but you didn't get an announcement of, oh, this is necessarily a Jack house or an icon house or anything too in depth with that. So it's still all a little bit gray, but the Horror Nights website also says there's going to be 3 Jacks and that 3 Jacks are better than one. You'll have 1 clown, 1 ringmaster, and 1 rock star. It's all Jack, and it's all going to be at Halloween Horror Nights. And yeah, he will be where you least expect it.
Yeah, it made it sound like he was I was like, I think he's going to pop up in like random houses. Like, I think it's going to be the idea being like he's free roaming almost, where it's like, it's not, obviously I'm assuming it's multiple people, but like where he will just like be the Easter egg throughout everywhere, like being like, he'll be at a scare zone, but it won't necessarily be a Jack scare zone. He'll be in a house, but it's not a Jack house. And he'll be, what I'm like, just like popping up wherever. Obviously we're going to talk about another thing where he's going to be at too in a second, but I don't know if you saw it. I didn't want to text you because it was so late, but I saw did you see when it clicked over on YouTube and they started live streaming at midnight?
I did not stay all the way up for the live stream at midnight.
I stayed up for 15 minutes and I was like, this is going to go until 6 a.m. I'm sure. Like, because it was just like, it was a lot of the hard part is it's a lot of static. So I was like, well, I don't want to keep hearing static click over again and again and again. And then it would be like fog, and then it would be static, and then it would be like a VCR tape, and then it would be like, but then it was like little bits here and there. And I was like, I probably had it on in the background for my computer. Like I attentively watched it for like 15 minutes, and then I left it for like 30 minutes, and I was like, okay, I'm good. So I don't know how long it took before like something was actually said, or if that was just the whole thing, or what they were doing. So, but I was like, I mean, good for them.
Yeah.
Although the people in the comments were absolutely stupid. They were like, I don't get it. Do you think this is a new park announcement? And I was like, are you for real? Do you think the stream's been hijacked? Do you think that they couldn't be hacked, could they? And I was like, oh my God, how are you on the internet right now? How are you typing in a comment box on YouTube during a live stream? You don't understand what this is.
That's great. I absolutely love that. I love every little bit of that. So funny. But yeah, so Jack he's going to be everywhere. And I agree with you, Rhino. I think he's going to definitely be a roaming character this year. You know, they've done like the roaming chainsaw hordes that don't necessarily really roam. They're in select sections, but they're not an official scare zone. I think Jack is going to be like that. I don't know if he's going to necessarily be popping up in houses that he's not supposed to be in, but I think he'll be randomly found around the park, and I really love that. And on the website, they basically show there says you're at my mercy in the park, and it's 5 spots you're going to be able to see Jack, and only one of them says there's nowhere you can hide, and that's where it says I'll emerge from the shadows when you least expect it. But then there's 5 more slots on where you'll be able to see 4 more slots out of 5 on where you'll be able to see Jack. So we're just going to have to wait and see what fills up all of those spots. But yeah, that is the main part. And I don't know why they didn't fill in at least one more spot, because as Rhino pointed out, there is a little bit more Jack that we know we're going to get. Actually, just a little bit of extra fun in general, and that's over at Cabana Bay Beach Resort. Yeah, I know that's the last place you'd expect it to be, but Cabana Bay Beach Resort. So you might be asking what it is. Well, there's going to be an all-new limited time jacked up experience at Universal's Cabana Bay Beach Resort, where guests will get a closer look into the chaotic world of Jack and some sinister environments inspired by his past invasions at Halloween Horror Nights. Then the hotel's Swizzle Lounge lobby bar will transform into the Horror Icons bar, featuring specialty beverages and snacks inspired by the event's most infamous icons, and props and costumes that pay an eerie homage to Halloween Horror Nights past. And plus, of course, if you stay at a hotel during Halloween Horror Nights and you're going to Horror Nights, you'll have a dedicated entry gate that you can get in. That usually is insane, at least any of the times I've tried to use it, but it is a perk nonetheless. So that's happening over at Cabana Bay, and I think that sounds cool. I'll definitely try to get over and see the props and have at least one cocktail at the bar there. But it's exciting. It's exciting to have anything Halloween Horror Nights related news.
Yeah, I love the idea that it like spills out of the park.
Yeah,
like that it's got the little bit of extra celebration, and the bar sounds really interesting too. So that's why I'm like, because I loved it. I thought it was cute when they had the Stranger Things photo op. Yeah. So it was like, it's nice to see this kind of expanded on that sort of a thing a little bit more.
Exactly. And so let's talk about where we stand right now real quick with Halloween Horror Nights. With the event as a whole, we know obviously Jack will be returning, but as of right now, the only officially announced house, according to the Halloween Horror Nights website, is Beetlejuice. And as we talked about during that announcement, if I am remembering correctly, we also mentioned that it's very strange that the other officially announced house, Puppet Theater Captive Audience, is not being listed on the website, because right after the Halloween events were pretty much wrapping up, it was like the last little bit of October, Universal did officially announce Puppet Theater Captive Audience will be one of the houses for 2021, but it's just still not on the website. So I don't know if someone's not updating it properly or what's going on with that. But according to the website on paper, the only thing right now is Beetlejuice, and then that's it. So
I mean, they're gonna have to start really dropping the info here soon, because it is mid-June, and so we've only got like July, August, like what is it, 2.5 months?
Yeah.
Well, because it's September 3rd, right? So it's like it really is just 2.5 months, and usually we know so much more by now. So it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could all be coming very quickly. The one thing is, if a lot of the houses are original properties, then they might choose to do like they've done in the past before, where instead of individual house announcements, it'll get to a point where they'll be like, okay, we're going to reveal all of the original properties and then all of the scare zones together plus the show. So they might only need to make a couple announcements for some of the intellectual properties that they have with it. So I think it's all been handled differently, because they wanted to know what the state of the world would be in, and then B, it's going to be a big event year, and so there's a lot that goes into that. And yeah, I know that sounds very confusing, but it makes sense how I'm saying it in my head.
No, it's one of those where I think they've got a double thing happening, where it's like they have not only is it the 30th anniversary, so it was going to be a big year like that, but they also now are celebrating the 30th anniversary the year after we were, basically lost a year, and they've been seeing. Everybody's been seeing that now. Everybody wants to get out and just do stuff while they can and are able to. And so it's like, I think it's going to be this extra influx of people. So I think these sort of events are going to do better than they have in the last like year or two, maybe. So I think there's also the idea where they're like, okay, we've got two things about to happen. Like, we're going to have a really, really busy Halloween season, and we're also celebrating the 30th anniversary. So it's like a twofold thing for them.
Yeah. It absolutely is. And we will be reporting on every second of it with glee and anticipation.
And fear. Anticipation.
Oh, yes. And wait, anticipation.
Do you see it? There's a guy who started like a Twitter feed, and he wrote Antissa, and like it had the picture, and then it was 5 years later he wrote patient.
Are you
and that
serious?
was it. It was just 2 tweets. Wow. And it was a 5-year long con for it.
That's a type of person I want to be my best friend.
Yeah. It's like, wow.
That's a true Trish move. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Trish would love a good break like that.
Oh, she would. She would love a good break like that. But we're going to move on to the final portion of this show, and that is talking about CityWalk's newest eatery, Bend the Bao, the new Asian fusion restaurant that is serving up bao buns at Universal CityWalk. You'll be able to see it up on your right as you're coming into Universal CityWalk, because it is just right up on the second level, right beside the movie theater in the old spot where Fusion Bistro Sushi and Sake Bar used to be. And I'm sure a lot of people just never paid attention to it, never actually got any food from there. It doesn't matter, because it no longer exists. Now in that spot is Bend the Bao. And, Rhino and I went there, and we wanted to experience Bend the Bao. And, we experienced it. And we have video of us trying all of the different food options that we had at Bend the Bao. And I think, should we probably just go ahead and play that now?
Yeah. So people can watch and see if we're going to say bow wow or bow not now. I had all night to think of the other half of this, and I didn't.
We'll peek behind the curtain here. We were trying to record an intro and outro there. It was just too noisy and too loud and windy. So we're like, we have to record this other stuff anyway. So we'll do the intro and outro for it during this recording. And we butchered that joke then. during that one, and it was just butchered again now. But let's go ahead and let's watch what we had at Bend the Bow.
We got everything on the menu except the shrimp, because there was like a 2 bao for a certain amount of money, and then you could add another bao for like $4.49, I believe is what they said up there. Or we could have just gotten 2 for $6, 3 different deals. I'm not really sure how it shook out there, but Craig will tell you in a second, I think. But I think we've kind of divided them apart, how we're gonna go. I'm gonna dig into the one that I'm excited for, which is the Kimchi FC, which is kimchi fried chicken, kimchi butter, gochujang, cucumber, scallion, sriracha, aioli. This one looks so good. And the bao bun is nice and fluffy. It's not bad. The chicken is like a thick piece of chicken, but it feels a little dried out in the middle is all. Like, it's not terrible, but also like not as poppin' as I want it to be. But I will tell you, this sriracha aioli is giving me that burn that I love so much. It's so good. Honestly, I really only get the sriracha aioli. The kimchi is like giving it that nice, like really extra crunchy fried chicken texture. But it's pretty good. So far, so good.
First one I'm going to try is the pork belly. It has obviously pork belly, scallions, cucumber, honey roasted peanuts, and cilantro. Oh, Rhino, you hate cilantro. So I'm glad I'm the one going with this. Rhino pointed out it's a very red pork belly. I saw that they were like swirling the pork belly around in a sauce, and that's where it's getting the redness from. This isn't bad. I do think the bao buns here are nice and fluffy and airy. The cilantro adds that earthy soapiness to this.
Yeah.
Much like Rhino's chicken, the pork belly is extremely dried out, and it's not very high quality. Well, it might be high quality meat. It's not made well though, and it's all stuck in my teeth, and I'm feeling very ashamed. I miss masks for this exact reason. So I'm gonna try to work on this situation with my teeth.
So the next one I think I'm gonna try is the veggie. Now that one is roasted oyster mushrooms with spinach, sweet potato, caramelized onions, smoked ricotta cheese, and tomatillo salsa. It sounds really, really interesting. I can see all those things on here. It looks good. I don't think I've ever had an oyster mushroom, to be honest with you, so this is gonna be an experience for me.
Boy.
Look at it, loaded with mushrooms. Those are some chewy mushrooms. Honestly, it's pretty good though. I really like the, what did I just say? There's like that ricotta cheese with that like sweet potato and the spinach. Like it's like sweet, but I don't know how to say it. Zesty? I don't know. What's good is there isn't a ton of the ricotta cheese, because I feel like too much of that would make this really heavy, but overall, like, I mean, the mushrooms are a little chewy. I think, well, they're roasted. In my head, I thought they were fried for some reason, so that makes sense that they would be like that a little bit. But honestly, I like this one too. I like the flavor. It's an interesting combination of flavors.
Next one I'm trying is the beef brisket, because I am the connoisseur of all things brisket. I'm not, but I like to pretend I am. This one has beef brisket, fried jalapeno, pickled red onion, cilantro, and avocado lime crema. And visually, this one's a lot prettier than the pork belly. I mean, not that there was anything wrong with the red pork belly, but the little fried jalapenos on there look nice, and of course the onion, the color popping from that is great, and ooh, even more cilantro. This is literally Rhino's nightmare, cilantro city. But I don't see a lot of brisket on there. You would expect a lot of brisket.
Yeah.
The positives of this little guy are obviously the onions and those jalapenos, the fried jalapenos. Oh, top notch. In the avocado lime crema, really delicious. But just as I thought, the brisket, you can barely taste it. It might as well not even be on this. It adds a little texture and chewiness, but taste-wise, it's just lost in everything else. So, not the greatest.
Okay, and last for me is the crab cake. This one sounds like just borderline offensive to the actual creation of bao, but it is a Maryland-style crab cake, shredded lettuce, diced tomato, and a mustard aioli. I can already tell you, there's a big crab cake right in the middle here that is about the size of the bao bun, and lots of that mustard aioli on here. So the crab cake, that's inside of this bao is pretty good. I mean, the texture is really good. It's not super crabby, which is great because I'm not a biggest fan of like when things have that really strong crab flavor. Really, the golden mustard is kind of the thing that overtakes the whole flavor of it. The mustard aioli, which I love mustard, so that doesn't really bother me. I kind of wish the lettuce maybe was a little crispier or crunchier, so this bao had like a little bit of a crunch to it. But it's interesting. It's like one of those where I'm like, who came up with this? Like, who thought of this? Who was like, oh, at this bao place, they were like, you know what'll go great here? Maryland crab cakes. Let's do it. Throw it in that bun. So definitely leaning into that idea of fusion, I guess, but not terrible, not terrible.
My final bao bun is the duck one. This is braised duck kimchi slaw exo sauce. Don't know what that is. More cilantro and a 5-spice aioli. I have no idea what the 5 spices are, but I'm sure that they were chosen with a lot of attention to detail, care, compassion, consideration, the things you normally put into when you're choosing spices for your aiolis. This was the one I was most excited about when we were looking at the menu. I said duck. I want the duck one. I like duck. I don't know why. I just do. This is easily my favorite of the 3 that I've had so far, but it still feels like something's missing. I think the reason why I like this one the most right now is the kimchi slaw, but I'm not tasting a sauce. I'm not tasting an aioli. Once again, the cilantro is really packing a punch with this. And the duck, you know, it's there, but it's not the most flavorful thing in the world. But it is balanced. I should say that. I don't know. I'm gonna finish it up. And then once I have all 3 in my belly, then I think we'll probably give our definitive thoughts on the different bao that we just had. Okie dokie, Rhino. So we had everything except the shrimp bao, and I'm kind of glad we didn't get the shrimp bao.
Yeah, me too. I don't really. Shrimp's got it's high in cholesterol, so I try and steer clear of shrimp when I can now. But yeah, now we've also had a night to like sit and think on it too, you know?
Yeah, we have, and I think that is actually. I think it's actually impacted mine in an even worse way. I wasn't necessarily thrilled with Ben the Bao in the moment, and I think the next day later afterwards, I'm not on board with it at all. So
I don't dislike. I love bao. You know, I'll say it every time there's bao in any video. I'm going to tell you how much I love it. But there are a couple places in Orlando that serve bao, and they do it very well. There's a place, you know, not far from Universal called King Bao that is right off of Mills in Winter Park, and it's just kind of a small, like, hole in the wall type of a place. And I'll be dining there this evening because I thought 2 nights of bao. Why now? Why not? God,
why not now?
Wow. Why not now? And so, but I also, because I was like, I need like a palate cleanser or whatever. Like that sounds meaner than I want it to. I didn't hate anything, that we had there necessarily. I thought it was like the bao buns were good and fluffy. I feel like I've had bao before where you've had it and you're like, clearly whoever made these buns has never actually like had bao or just doesn't care about bao, because you can get it where it's like the outside can be like hard because it's like overcooked. It's not steamed correctly or something. But ultimately it was like nothing did wow me. Like it was just kind of middle of the road. And it was, not only was it middle of the road, it was also too expensive. There's no question that it was like too expensive, because bao is, typically a smaller, if you saw the video, it's just a tiny little,
There are listeners too,
thing.
though.
And our listeners saw the video too. They can see it with their ears.
Okay.
So it's just a small palm of your hand type of thing. Think of like when you have tacos, you can get the big taco shell, or you can get the tinier individual, like the ones that come in the giant stack. Like it's even smaller than those small ones a little. It's just a fluffy little pillow that you eat, that you have different ingredients in, and it just felt like, I don't know. I'm happy it exists, but I don't know that I'm gonna be going there again, because it really is like, it's too expensive for that. Like this King Bao place, which makes like phenomenal bao. There's a deal. I think it's like 3 bao for like $9 or something like that. And with that deal, I think you also get like a drink of chips. And I understand that this is a theme park, but it's 2 bao, no sides, for like $12 at Ben the Bao. So that's like $6 a bao. That is way too much money. The most you could do is like, I think like $4.50 is kind of like, whatever. I don't know.
I will say, I went back and looked at the opening prices back in 2019 when Aventura opened up on the menu for Bar 17 Bistro, the top floor dining location. They had bao on the menu, and I don't believe it's on there anymore. But back then, each individual bao was $4. And I can remember us saying then, like, it's probably like $1, a little bit like right around 50 cents to $1, maybe a little bit overpriced, but $4 still fair. So now we've had another jump up in price with bao at Universal, and the price point just isn't there. And I will say, after our annual pass discount, because that is offered, our total price was $32.99. We got 6 bao buns in total. And here's the mistake that we made, just to warn anyone else. I truly believe that any human adult would need 3 bao buns to not necessarily feel full, but feel adequate. We ate it, and then we literally walked around Universal Studios Florida once, and by the time I got back into my car, I was hungry again. So it was light. It was very, very light on the stomach. And the problem with that too is that, like, and going into the pricing, is that you get 2 bao buns for $11.99. And then it says right under it on the menu, for an additional $4.49, you can add on an extra bao bun. And so we walked up and said, okay, we want 6 total bao buns. And so we assumed that they were going to do, okay, $11.99 plus $4.49 for one set of 3 bao buns, and then $11.99 plus $4.49 for the second set of bao buns, meeting 6 total. But instead, the person at the register charged us for 2 combos. So I mean, that, like, in the long scheme of things, that turns out to be $3 or $4 more. So it's not like breaking the bank. But if you're on a budget, it's every dollar might be accounted for. And so it's important to make sure you also dictate when you're ordering. Like, if you're going in with that mindset, like you're there with one other person and you want to order 3 each, make sure, instead of order individually, and make sure that you say, okay, I would like this combo, plus I want to add an additional one on, and then have the next person say that as well, just so you're clear. Otherwise, you're probably going to get overcharged for it. And ultimately, at the end of the day, with the pricing, I think I would have felt justified if these bao buns were actually packed tightly and really felt like they were worth the wait.
Yeah,
because they
were definitely light on the fixins.
Yeah, and I get it. Stuff's gonna fall out, and it makes you nervous to overpack it, and you don't want to ruin the integrity of the bao buns. But these just didn't have enough. I mean, it's saying something when the bao buns feel heavier, like the bao buns by themselves feel heavier than the toppings that are inside. it wasn't all there, and the flavors were just, for me, they were all muddied with the three that I had. Cilantro was the dominating flavor in most of them, minus the the avocado lime crema in the one that I had, and the duck was, it was all nice, but I don't know, there's nothing that would convince me to go back again immediately. And the last issue I have with it, which isn't, I did not hold it accountable for it in this way, but like, we just got your basic brown food boats that they served ours in, but in like all the press images and stuff that they released out for it, the bao buns were in these awesome, colorful boxes that are very similar to the outside of the restaurant. And something like that would even elevate the experience if they actually served the buns in those. I don't know. I feel like that would have been like, oh, there's actually thought and consideration in this versus just slopping some bao buns in a gray gravy boat. Not gray, brown gravy boat. But
brown.
I don't even know why I'm calling it a gravy boat. I don't know what I'm doing. It's not a gravy boat. I'm losing it at this point. But yeah, it's, for me, I'd say it's a pass. There's
oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
no,
Go ahead.
I don't. No, go.
I was just reading up because I was wondering the difference between bao, like if you've seen the Disney short where it's like the bao that's like the cheeseburger pods from like Pandora. Those are technically bao.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the bao where it's sliced and it's like a taco is bao, but it is called I do not know how to say this word. It's GUA. So Goya bao.
Yeah.
Or if you say bao bun, they say bao means bun. So translated, it means bun, which is redundant. And bao in the Chinese language without any qualifiers is generally used to refer to baozi, which baozi is the dumpling type of bao, I guess, which is like the standard bao. But I was just trying to look like, how did we ruin this as a Western culture? But I guess traditionally that bao, it is always served with like a pork belly is what they say. But then this fusion thing is like, you can do whatever you want with it. It's called a lotus leaf bun or something. But I was just trying to see, is it like street food? Is it restaurant food? What is it? And it says it can be both, but it's generally designed to be like takeaway food. But it also says is no bigger than 3.1 inches. Yeah. So it has like a standard size to it.
No, I do get the sizing of it. I get that. It's just
no. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I was curious. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's the size of the buns themselves. I'm all on board with. It's just how much they pack into it and with the pricing. And while you were talking there,
there's no question that they did not put enough in it. Looking at the photos of the thing, I'm like, no, because like it was like just a little bit, and it was a lot of the stuff. Yeah. Sorry.
No, and I compared it to King Bao since you brought that up there, and the King Bao pricing is anywhere from $3 to $3.75 per bun. So it's, if you're going to eat a lot of bao, then you're starting to make decisions like, okay, well, do I leave property and go out of my way for this type of food? But I think that's where you get into more of the discussion of, okay, locals, maybe bend the bao isn't for you, but if you live in a part of the United States that for some reason doesn't have bao and this is your one chance to get it, you know what? Yeah, give it a shot. See if you like it. It's being served at more and more places, so I feel like eventually you'll find it somewhere else that's better quality and at a better price. But if it's your one chance to try it, go for it. And the fact of the matter is, it's another thing that's different at CityWalk. Like, it's awesome that there can be a bao bun place that's sitting right across the way from Panda Express, Moe's, and Burger King bar. And it's not just more of the same stuff. It is something fresh and different at Universal. So I will commend it for that. I just think it needs retold a little bit.
I think the prices need to be examined. I think it should be like 3 for $12. Mm-hmm. I think that like you said, that needs to be the deal, really.
Yeah, if it's gonna remain that portion size, 3 for $12. But give it a shot, and if you like it, come back here and let us know what you think. I'd love to hear it. But I have nothing else to say about Bend the Bao.
No, me
Okay.
neither.
Okay, well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition. Rhino, thank you so much for sitting here chatting with me about it.
No problem.
Excellent. Excellent. And everyone out there, I hope you enjoyed watching and listening to this. No matter how you watched or listened to it, you're all important. And if you want to support us, please consider booking your next vacation again through Dreams Unlimited Travel. Please do that. And again, if you're watching this, please make sure you're subscribed to UOFan on YouTube. Make sure that you're hitting the thumbs up and that you're leaving those comments, questions, and video suggestions in the comment section. And if you're listening to the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition, make sure you're subscribed where you listen, leaving those 5-star ratings on Apple Podcasts. But that's going to do it for this week's show. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again real soon with another episode of the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition. Take care. And remember, we still haven't changed the name.